Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Dino Brothers podcast. I am your host, Joe Boogie, as always, joined by my main man, Deuce Deuce. What's going on, Deuce?
Not too much, dude. Another week in the NBA wrapped up, and the Raptors went 2-1. We took a win against Orlando earlier in the week. Wasn't pretty, but we proved we were the better team. Had a tough loss to Chicago in a nationally televised game, and then we outlasted the Jazz in a pretty close battle throughout most of the game, but it felt like we came out on top.
So we didn't hit our optimistic prediction as we were hoping the Raps were going to be able to pull out the win against Chicago and go 3-0, but 2-1 isn't too bad as long as, they're taking some steps to get better and, move on.
Yeah, I didn't feel too bad about the loss against Chicago. Like they're a tough team. We're gonna face them many more times during the year, so we'll get our fair shot at them. But we didn't really get a chance to recap the Jazz just because we were busy over the weekend. And I was actually pretty impressed by that game. I thought the Jazz are a good young team. They actually move the ball really well, but they are young, and we managed to exploit that.
No, absolutely. I mean, this week the Raptors took care of business. They beat the teams they needed to beat. We showed that we are superior to, you know, the up and coming teams. But in terms of the Jazz, I mean, yeah, I totally agree with you. We took care of business, got the win. We let them hang around a little bit longer than maybe we should have. But like you said, they are a young team. They are scrappy. They did play well. They're moving the ball, but it was good to see. In the second half that the Raptors took the win, put it into overdrive, and won by a decent margin. But it was a little
Yeah, I
closer than
think
we
it's
would have
pretty
liked at
good.
the time.
Yeah, like I'm pretty impressed that the Raptors are managing to just take care of bad teams. That's been one of our weaknesses in the past. Weakness for any Toronto franchise, really. Uh, the Jazz are pretty good. Like they were coming off a back-to-back, so already they're going to be tired, and they're on the road, so it's a tough situation for them. But they moved the ball well. They actually passed it around a lot better than we did, I thought. Um, but I think we really exposed their youth on the offensive end. They were just falling for all of DeMar and Kyle Lowry's pump fakes, just eating them up alive.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, those guys are pretty tricky on those pump fakes, especially against young guys like on the Jazz. So they bit it hook, line, and sinker. We got to the line, which is really has been a strength of our team this year. It has been getting to the line and continuing to do so, which definitely helps. Got to get those easy points when you can.
Yep. Unfortunately, James Johnson turned his ankle in the Jazz game, and we've just seen the updates today. He's severely sprained his ankle, and he's out indefinitely.
Yeah, so it looks like it's one of those high ankle sprains. Those are hard to come back from, so it could be a while. Hopefully, he takes the time to get better. Um, some other guys can step up while he's gone and test out some other rotations. But yeah, it is disappointing that he's going to be out for an extended period of time, especially since he's been pretty key on both the offensive and defensive end. And just really our whole team's vibe. He's been a key part of that, so he will be missed.
Yeah, he was really our sixth man. Like he was just coming off the bench, energizing us on offense and defense with those like some of those dunks were insane. I didn't know he had that in him. But yeah, hopefully he's not out for too long. But uh, you don't want to rush back from an injury like that because it can like ankle sprains are pretty common in basketball, and you don't want to re-injure an ankle like that.
Yeah, it's a tricky injury. Definitely wanted to get the time, get better, but as you said, he had some monstrous slams this week. So those are definitely highlight reel slams, which once he's back in the lineup, he'll start adding to that highlight reel. I can't wait to watch some clip compilations later. Just James Johnson getting it done, taking care of business, doing what he do.
Baptizing kids. Yeah, so I think it's going to fall to Lou Williams to step up a bit, get his game going. What do you think of him lately?
I think it's good that Lou and Grievous and some other guys on our bench are going to get an opportunity to step up because we need them to produce. Um, really, you know, everyone's been rolling. Really, the team's been playing well, but now there's going to be some more minutes to go around, and I think Lou's played very well. I have no complaints about Lou. He's been a great team and chemistry guy. He's been hitting his shots. He hasn't been shooting the highest percentage, but he's been feeling it. So hopefully, yeah, he can step up, have a bigger role, score a little more, and keep up the good work. What are your thoughts on Lou?
I think he's starting to fit in with the team. I think he looked a little tentative the first few games, like it is the new team for him, but I think he's playing a lot better right now. And I think he's just got to be confident with his shot, look for it, take it. Like we trust him. Like he's got to be our go-to scorer off the bench. Um, Grievous is good at pushing the pace, but I don't really trust his shot selection in the lane.
Yeah, Grievous is always going to throw up some horrendous shots, which, we kind of let him run the second unit. As long as he's leading them well, we'll give him those ugly floater that just becomes a air ball or a shot that he jacks up from 3-point range that barely hits the backboard and is way off target. But, he's the general. We love him, so definitely, hopefully, him and Lou will hit a little bit of stride and work on their kind of chemistry together. One thing that I did want to mention that I really like to see is on the Chicago Bulls game and in the Jazz game, we started to see some new lineups, which is really what I've been looking for is to see, Casey's starting to get a feel for the team. There's been some injuries, and, now he can try some different things, see what works, different lineups, big, small, and kind of figure out that depth and get these guys, different players playing together who haven't played together. So it was good to finally see now. At the start, he was always playing the second unit as five guys.
Yeah.
So, in the second quarter, end of the first, he just put in the whole bench unit. Now we saw some lineups for the first time where it's Lowry with Lou. We had DeRozan was in there with most of the second unit guys, which I want to see. Just because some of the guys need rest, we can definitely mix in some of the starters with the bench guys. And some of those lineups seem productive. I mean, we don't have a good sample size. It's just a few minutes against, mostly the Jazz, so a lackluster team. But I definitely want to see Casey experiment with some different looks.
Yeah, I think it just sort of helps to smooth the transition between lineups. Like it's kind of weird to come into a game and just have all five guys change out at once, but yeah, it's something to be monitoring throughout the following weeks. Hopefully, we get some different looks out there. Uh, did see a lot more minutes from JV against the Jazz. Actually, he put up a pretty monstrous game with 17 points and 14 rebounds. What do you think about his development this year?
Great to see the double double by JV. That's what I like is to see him just really cementing himself, taking what's his, and doing what we need him to do, which is really step up, play well, get those double doubles, take care of the boards, and protect the post. That was great to see, but I still want to see more of the JV. We need to see the consistency. Josh Lewenberg, actually, who is the beat reporter for the Raptors, wrote in a pretty good article about JV and some interviews and conversations that he's had with Casey. And the outcome of that really was Casey was saying he's not going to rush JV. He's going to give him that time. There's no pressure. He wants to put the team in the best position to succeed, get the W's, and sometimes he thinks that might be not having JV in the lineup or not in the lineup at the end of the game, and that, he's not rushing it. He's going to give him that time, which is kind of the same sentiments that we've been hearing the last couple of seasons about JV, which, I totally see that point of view and I do agree, but I want to see JV in there in the last 2 minutes of the game. I want to see him getting a shot, matching up with the other top guys, and really taking that step that we need him to take. If we're going to ever make it a deep playoff run, we need JV to play well. So I definitely want him to get that experience now, especially when we're playing against not the greatest teams. I'd figure that would be the time to get him those minutes.
Yeah, it's interesting because the NBA is sort of JV is kind of a traditional center. He plays with his back to the basket, down low in the post. But the NBA is starting to really shift away from that sort of center oriented play. You see a lot of stretch fours, these days, and a lot more perimeter-oriented guard play. Um, so yeah, there was talk in that article like JV does have a hard time matching up with centers who can play out more towards the elbows and not directly under. Um, but I do think he should learn how to like use his he should learn how to use his size as an advantage. Like if he's on a smaller defender, he should just be able to post up and score on them 90% of the time. And I think he's got to work on his rim protection and defense. Like as the tallest one of the tallest guys on the floor, like you've got to be protecting the rim.
Absolutely. So JV, he's on watch, but I don't know. I just want more from him. Like this is his third season now. We need him to take a step. We can only make excuses for him for so long that he's young, he's still learning the game, which I totally agree with all those things. But I just want that little bit more from him. It's that time that he's got to go out there, prove it. Him and T. Ross, we both picked up their options, right? So we've got them on the books until next season. But after that, they're going to be getting paid, and we need to have all the information, as much information as possible at that point, because these guys are going to get paid. We want to know that they're in our future, how we're going to build our team, where they fit in, what their ceiling is, and get a good handle on, can these guys lead us to the ultimate goal of potentially winning an NBA title, or at least putting us in a position to make a deep run. So I want to see more from him. I hope Casey puts him in those final minute situations. What better way is it to learn than being out on the court, being in the trenches, and getting that exposure? Win or lose, good or bad, he's got to get that experience, and I just want to see him get that opportunity.
Yeah, for sure. There's a couple small concerns for the Raptors like going forward. Not necessarily with this season, but just like taking the next step. And yeah, one of those key questions is who's going to be our third piece? Because we got Kyle, we got DeMar, they're coming night in, night out, doing work. But we need a third guy to step up and be able to help shoulder that burden. Hopefully it's JV, hopefully it's Terrence Ross, but if not, we got to find something else.
That's the thing. Like, what do you see as their ceiling? Can you see them growing into elite players, or at least both of them at least pretty high impact players? Like, can they ascend to that level, or do you think we're gonna need to make some moves at some point?
Well, I do think it is a little early to say. Like they did just finish their second season and they're just starting their third season. They both. It's too early to say right now. Like Terrence Ross shows you flashes, but he hasn't developed that consistency yet. And yeah, JV's also been showing you some good things, but sometimes he just gets absolutely exposed on the defensive end. Um, and he still pump fakes too much. So they're still growing, but I think it's too early to write them off just yet.
Yeah, and I totally agree. And I kind of tricked you into that, because that's getting back to my last point, which is they need to get those experiences so we can make an accurate evaluation of those guys. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Uh, but just going back to some of my concerns in general about the Raptors going forward, I am a little bit worried about our passing, uh, or lack thereof. We're actually the 28th in the league in assists, so the ball's not really moving too well, I think. And I think if we just did that, we could open up some easier shots for our guys.
No, definitely. I mean, I want to see them. There's a lot of ISO ball, a lot of taking turns driving the lane, which is good when we get to the foul line. But we got to cycle that ball around. We got to get some ball movement, get high percentage shots, and put us put us in a position to succeed. I mean, we've been doing well with ISO ball, and we've been hitting our shots, but why not get that ball moving, um, get those better percentage shots, and really give ourselves the best chance at winning. So I definitely want to see. I definitely totally agree with you. You can tell that the ball's been sticking a lot, and sometimes guys have been getting frustrated when guys have been holding the ball too long, or just jacking up ill-advised shots.
DeMar, for sure. Yeah, like one of my favorite shots to see in basketball is just a wide open corner three for a swish. Like it's high percentage, money ball shot. So I would like if we could get a couple more looks like that. I'm also a little bit concerned about our defense, which seems to come and go. Thankfully, it's usually there in the fourth quarter, but uh, like sometimes we're letting bad teams stick around just because we're not defending them properly.
Yeah, absolutely. Like our defense is solid. We're ranked pretty well, but we've been playing bad teams, like you said, just in terms of defensive effort. They got to have that extra hustle. Um, run around those screens, run around those picks, and really swarm on defenders. Get that help defense going. And sometimes they just seem a bit lackadaisical or lackluster, not bringing the heat, which there should be no excuse for that. You got to be going 110 on defense, and there's no excuse for it. We know they have the chops to do it. They just got to consistently do it.
Yep. So the Raptors did come up in Bill Simmons' Grantland Basketball Hour last week, and he talked about some potential trade targets. Jeff Green, David West, Nikola Pekovic, Larry Sanders. Any of these guys stand out to you? Do you think we could make a move on one of these guys? How would they add to us? Do we need to make a move?
Yeah, I definitely think we need to get another reliable front court player if we can. There's a couple different approaches we could go. I definitely think if we could somehow get um, kind of like a four who can shoot well, that would really give us a lot of different looks that we could do. Really space at the floor a little bit better. So if we get like a Ryan Anderson type, we definitely can't get Ryan Anderson, but that sort of player. It's tough because it's kind of thin at that position too in terms of what would be the ideal fit for the Raptors. I know Bill Simmons threw around Horford, which Horford would be a good fit if we could get him. David West, like you said, is a good grizzled veteran who could um, bring his experience, bring his leadership, and he is a total hustle guy. Like he works for every point that he gets, and he's just a gritty guy. Got the toughness, so I'd definitely like to see him. And if there's a fire sale in Indiana, he is older. We could potentially get him at a good value. So a David West type at a good value would be sick. Or if we're gonna, you know, go for a bigger piece, then um, some of those other targets you mentioned could definitely fit in. And again, we got to figure out our future and direction that we want to go if we are going to make kind of a franchise changing move that's going to change our outlook for the next 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, just looking at some of these contracts, like David West, he's listed at 2 years, 24 million. Like 2 years, that'll come off the books in 2016, and you can still make a run at free agency for Kevin Durant. Uh, what about Jeff Green? I saw him on your fantasy team, and he's putting up pretty good points.
Got to be KD. Um, no, definitely. I mean, Jeff Green has been. I've always been a fan of Jeff Green. He always pulls on my heartstrings, and he's always been in my heart, and I've been in his heart. No pun intended. Because I always followed him back in the OKC days. He's come to the Celtics, so he's a divisional guy. I've seen him play quite a few times in person. He's got like he's another guy who has huge flashes. He could go off for 40 points. He can shoot the three ball, but it's really consistency. He's one of those guys who will go invisible for a game and might not have the leadership potential to be. And just like I was saying, with the consistency to be one of those reliable pieces, he definitely has the skill. He's just got to bring it all together and kind of lead a team and prove that he can be that guy. But I like him. He's a decent two-way player. Like I was saying, he can hit the three ball. He can carry the ball. He's got some decent handles. He's like a good all-around guy.
Yeah, so he's the kind of guy you'll start on the off nights of your fantasy, but not every night.
Yeah, like I mean, well, that's kind of the good thing is, yeah, he does fluctuate a bit. If you have no one throw him in your lineup and he has a high ceiling, there's upside. He could go off for 40. He might go off for 6 points, 4 rebounds. Right?
Yeah, yeah. You don't want to have to rely on him, but he's good to have. All right, fair enough.
What do you think? Is there any guys that you'd like to see the Raps target?
There's no one in particular, but I do feel we have a need in the front court. Like we just need more depth up front. I don't want to have to go into Chuck Hayes. Period.
No, for sure. I mean, that's another thing that's kind of like my beef with Casey is that he always plays those veterans, but there is no, maybe in the moment, yeah, they're kind of reliable, they're known quantities, but there isn't that upside of getting our young guys experience. Like, at what point are Bebe and Bruno gonna get some experience in games? If we're winning by 20, 30 points, would it hurt to ever, get them on the field? They're never dressed for the games, pretty much, at least not recently. Instead, you have Chuck Hayes, you have Landry. Those guys are no upside for our team. We know what they are, and they're only playing what 3 to 5 minutes a game. I think Landry's only played like 2 minutes the whole season. What's the upside of ever getting those guys dressed and getting them that experience?
Well, Landry's upside is that his contract is going to expire soon, so there's that. Um,
But I just mean you don't need to dress him. He could be just in a suit sitting there doing what he does, which is a great cheer for the team. He's a great hype man. But I just don't see why we can't get those guys some playing time at some time. I feel like there's no substitute um, for playing time, but kind of on that trade target thing too. It'll be interesting to see how some things pan out with like a Greg Monroe type. He re-signed this year. He got that. He picked up his option in Detroit, even though it was a less than ideal situation, because he knows he's probably
yeah,
gonna
they got.
get paid next year. But it'll be interesting to see. I mean, there's a lot of flexibility, and who knows what will happen there, right? So
Yep, for sure.
he's not really a piece that would complement JV, but
Yeah, they got a lot of centers in Detroit. I don't think that's a good situation for him, but we'll see how that plays out.
sure.
So the Raptors got 3 games coming up this week. First game is against the Grizzlies on Wednesday. We got 4 days until Raptors basketball. That's gonna hurt. And then the Bucks on Friday, and then at Cleveland on a back-to-back on Saturday night.
So Grizzlies, that's going to be the next test for the Raptors, a high-quality Western Conference opponent. They got the size. We'll see if they're bullying us in the post or what.
I'm worried about that Grizzlies game. Like that's gonna be a tough one to win because I feel like our front court is kind of a little bit weak right now. You know.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be one to watch. I mean, out of these last few games, there's been a few takeaways. We've learned a few things, but against the Grizzlies, this is the Twin Tower tandem. How are we going to match up? Are we going to have answers? What lineups are we going to pull out to try and battle and counter them? So hopefully we learn something and see how we stack up.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough game. I'm honestly not really expecting a win there, but I'd love to be pleasantly surprised.
Vince is back in town. What do you think about that?
Vince Carter's been down this year. I actually had to drop him from my fantasy team, so it'll be good to see. No, it won't. Who cares?
That's my golden rule: is never draft Vince and always chirp the person who drafts Vince in fantasy. Because it's like, come on, VC, really?
He was good a few years ago if you could just separate the emotional connection, but now he's just garbage.
Yeah, no, definitely as a flex guy in your league, or just filling some gaps. He hits threes. He's had his moments the last couple of years, but yeah, Bucks roll into town Friday. That should be an easy win, hopefully.
I think so. Like that marks the end of our homestand. We got to take care of business against another crappy team. Um, and I feel like we've already had a really successful start to the season. Um, I guess Dwayne Casey is in sort of win now mode, um, trying to get out to a hot start on this easy schedule because the schedule does get a lot harder come Christmas time.
Yeah, which I do agree with. You got to get those W's when you can. Try and get a good seeding come playoff time. And like you said, over the Christmas break, when the World Juniors are at the ACC, we have, I think it's like a 13-day um, road trip. So
It's a
who
brutal
knows?
road trip.
Yeah, we're playing some good times. We go west coast there, right? So
Yeah, you got Clippers, Warriors, Rocket, all the good teams. West Coast, they're tough.
yeah, it's gonna be a rocky stretch. So
Yeah, good to get the wins now.
But it is going to be cool to see our first matchup again. The Cleveland Cavaliers, Kevin Love and LeBron.
And Kyrie Irving. Hopefully they have some kind of chemistry breakdown and we can just walk over them. But LeBron's been playing pretty well, don't you think?
Oh yeah, he dropped 40 the other day. He's saying, enough with this media, enough with all these headlines and picking us apart. Like, I'm gonna get it done on the court is what he said, and he's done it. Which we knew it was gonna be a little of a work in progress, and he said, I don't care. We're gonna win some games, try and shut the media up a little bit, buy ourselves some time, and you know, you can tell that they are slowly improving. But Kevin Love's stats have definitely taken a big hit this year.
Well, not surprising. Like going from the primary option in Minnesota to, I guess, the third option here, just because he doesn't get to handle the ball as much as Kyrie and LeBron. Your stats are going to take a hit.
He's got to hope Kyrie passes it to
Yeah.
him.
But tough. This is honestly a tough week for the Raptors coming up. I am excited to see Cleveland. I haven't really gotten a chance to analyze them in depth, but we'll get a really good look at them on Saturday.
Absolutely, I'm pretty excited for that. And while we're on the Cavs, I just wanted to see what you thought about Kevin Love and Kyrie's bro handshake that they did.
I loved it. I thought it was awesome. The only thing I didn't like was that they denied it was smoking a joint. I,
Exactly. For anyone who missed it, they did. You all slap and tickle, some hand slapping, some gangster um, slapping and grabbing moves, and then they did finished it off with the old fake puff of the joint, which can't go wrong there. But they've been getting a little flack and scrutiny just on exactly what were they smoking.
exactly. Apparently, marijuana isn't legal in Akron yet, so we'll have to wait for that.
A few more years.
Yep. So I saw you got stuck in traffic because of the Santa Claus parade.
Exactly. So I was just
Actually, sorry. Wait. Before we go on to that, what's our prediction for this week?
this week. I'd like to see us go 2-1. Well, not I'd like to. I'm predicting. I'd like us to go 3-0, but I'm predicting we're gonna go 2-1. So we're either gonna. I honestly think that we're gonna take the game against the Grizz.
The Grizzlies? Let me
Yeah.
just quickly check the Grizzlies schedule. Because let me see. No, I don't know. They're not coming off a back-to-back. We're the start of their road trip.
Good.
It's
Good.
actually only one game road trip.
I want them to be at full strength.
Yep,
So we're both gonna be well rested, prep for this game.
yeah. Yeah, we got 4 days rest. Yeah. I want to say we're gonna go 2-1, but I have a bad feeling that we might go 1-2. Like the Grizzlies are tough. They're blowing out Houston right now. Uh, and the Cavs are starting to come on. But
If we lose to the Grizz, though, I see us beating Cleveland. I think those are both. I don't feel like either of these games are out of reach. So I'm predicting we're gonna win one or the other.
yeah, this will be a good yardstick for the Raptors because we haven't really played any top tier talent except for the Bulls.
Exactly. I'm excited. I'm excited to see what happens this week.
Yep. All right. Santa Claus parade.
Yeah. So I'm going up to the subway station on Bloor, and all of a sudden I see all these fences and police and just crowds of people. I'm like, what's going on here? And then I see all these floats just going. I actually book it across the street super quick. It's like, yo, I gotta get to Tim Hortons and the subway station. So I'm just like booking it across the road in front of like children and police officers, and like, yo, gotta get to the other side of the road. I don't care. But it was pretty insane as well to see all the kids out there, see the Raptors float, little kids, parents just going insane, being like, yeah, Raptors, baby. And like kids are just getting pretty stoked, which I like to see. And the Raptors, they're a community oriented organization, making it known like their mascot and the Raptor is just like it's super kid friendly and like hilarious. Like people love it. So it's good to see them having a presence. They were definitely a crowd pleaser. People were going insane.
That's nice. That's awesome. Like, we're officially endorsed by Santa Claus now, so that's good. And yeah, I really like that the Raptors crowd is young and enthusiastic, and I think getting a float out there is just going to help us recruit more young kids to our ranks.
Exactly. Apparently Santa said that the Raptors weren't naughty, but they were nice. So good things for Christmas.
Yeah. Speaking of Christmas, we got some ugly Christmas sweaters from around the league. Did you get a chance
Ah,
to look at those?
I checked those out on the official NBA store, and they look sick. I like those sweaters. Like I'm considering buying one. They're $65 US, but I mean a sweater is gonna cost. Sweaters hit that price point anyway. Like having a sick NBA sweater. Some of them have cool designs. Some of them just look ugly, but like there's a good novelty factor there. What were your thoughts on those sweaters?
I am not a fan of ugly Christmas sweaters. Like, I don't know, my family never did it. I think they just look weird and stupid to me. But like, which ones were you thinking of?
They're not ugly Christmas sweaters. They're Christmas sweaters. I
Yeah,
think they look good.
like which team would you be thinking of picking up?
Cause like, just personally on my regular wardrobe, I have a numerous snowflake sweaters that I just wear because like they look awesome and they got a good, hilarious like comedic value and feel like like I always get complimented on them too because like people notice like it's wintertime in Canada, rock a nice sweater. But one of the things was though I didn't see a Raptors Christmas sweater on the official NBA store. I went into another website. I'm not even sure what this website is or how I came across it, but they were selling a Raptors one, which looked pretty good. It was like a red, black, and white. It said Raptors. I don't know, so I don't know if that's an official one or not. So
They probably
that,
just stole your identity.
yeah, I don't know. If it was an official one, I would definitely buy that because, yeah, as you just heard, I love sweaters.
Yeah, if they had a Raptors one, I would maybe consider that, but no, not really on my shopping list.
Yeah, I mean, I already got a throwback jersey, starter jacket, two cap, like a lot of other Raptors merchandise I need to purchase.
uh, what about the Christmas jerseys for the NBA?
The Christmas jerseys look alright. So they're putting like just the first name on the back. So it'll say LeBron or Chris or Kevin. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
uh, I don't know. It's kind of weird. Um, like, yeah, it's great if your name is LeBron and it's like identifiable, but like Kevin or Chris, like that's kind of weird. I wasn't actually that. I don't know that I like the design. It's kind of got a weird weight to it with the small images and then the numbers. But
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the design choice, honestly. Like, always, every year, like last year too, like, the Christmas jerseys are always a bit of a toss up, and I like that they're trying new things. And, the first name thing could be kind of cool for like a branding thing, or one day if they just want to be more hip, like if everyone could have, kind of like in the XFL, how you used to just be able to pick your own name that you'd put on the back, like "You Hate Me" was classic. So it's good for a marketing perspective, and like you said, if you're LeBron or Dwight, a little more
yeah,
unique is cool. But yeah, if you're Chris or Kevin, it's um, not
actually,
as awesome.
I'm looking at them now and I don't like the square that goes behind the names. I feel like that actually just completely throws the jersey off. Um, but that's just me design nitpicking. But let's take a look at the Christmas Day games. There's some good games going on that day. Any of them stand out to you?
So definitely OKC Spurs. I mean, a
That's
nice battle
assuming
of the West.
Westbrook and KD are back.
Yeah, it probably will be a little bit disappointing. So there's Wizard Knicks. Last year, the Knicks laid an egg on Christmas. I'm assuming this year again. I don't know. It's the Wizards, so it should be a competitive game. I'm hoping they're all good. So Cavs Heat, that's probably the premier one,
Oh
the
yeah,
premier
put a
game.
bow on that. That'll
Oh
be a
yeah,
nice treat on Christmas Day.
that'll be a nice one. LeBron versus former team, spit and fire. Hopefully they still got some. only one team is going home to their families happy on Christmas. Another one just gonna be pissed. And then Warriors Clips, Lakers Bulls. So another two pretty good games. Lakers again, we don't know what that's gonna be. That could be a toss up as well. But Warriors Clips should be good.
I don't really want to watch any more Lakers basketball. Yeah, Cavs Heat, that is gonna be fire. Like those guys are gonna be pissed at each other. I can't wait to see that. And Warriors Clippers, like those are just two amazing teams going up against each other. Even if the Clippers are having some struggles right now, it's always nice to just watch Warriors games.
Oh yeah, it was pretty amazing last year on Christmas. I just sat there and watched basketball all day. That's all I did. It was so good. Like this year, I'm hoping that my family doesn't get in the way and I'm expected to, you know, spend time with them and talk to them. So hopefully that's not the case and I'll be able to catch all the games.
Yeah, we know how you love your family.
Exactly. Exactly. So no, good lineup of games as always. I mean, some of them might be less competitive than others, but it's it's a tradition and one that I really look forward to. So maybe at the end of the season, once the Christmas jerseys are being reduced or on clearance, then I'll get one. I saw they were selling some. They're still selling some of the ones from last year. I mean, that one manufacturing run that they did, they probably still have a ton of shitload left over. So
Was it those
maybe,
ugly sleeve jerseys?
yeah, the sleeved ones from last year.
Okay. Yeah.
So I think it's time for a fan favorite, one of our favorite segments. It is the docket. So I'm putting on my inspector hat today and figuring out our docket target. And today it is Elaine Alden Field, aka Mrs. Landry Field. So if you want to look her up, she is at Elaine Alden, Alden. Alden is her last name. She's got a pretty juicy Instagram. So I will start off with the tale of the tape. Born February 11th, 1986, 27 years old, Aquarius, from Miami, Florida, 5'9", blonde hair, green eyes, 120 pounds, size 2. Formerly an international model, posing in Maxim, GQ, Sports Illustrated, FHM, and Monster Energy advertisements. We have Mrs. Elaine Alden. So, 27-year-old, former swimsuit model. Well done, Landry.
Landry's
Um,
doing all right for himself. He's doing pretty good.
for sure. And as he said on his own um, Instagram, I'm standing next to my wife. She's a total smoke show. Which, it sounds, it can be a little bit endearing because it's your wife. You want to show her some love and respect, but it's also a tad douchey saying that about your wife. But I mean, I have no gripes or qualms with his evaluation because she definitely is a total smoke show.
I'm looking at her Instagram right now, and I got to agree. This
Oh
one.
yeah, if you check out her IG, there's definitely some good swimsuit pictures, some of the model shots, but a lot of like candid selfies, a lot of just different looks before she goes out, and she has a good face. She's working with a good body, so definitely congrats to her. She has recently popped out a kid as well.
I can't believe she popped out a baby and she's in this good shape.
Oh yeah, she popped out a kid. So if you really want to see some of my favorite pictures, are actually her maternity photos. Whoo! That's a smoke show and a half. Like she looks gorgeous as a pregnant woman. So definitely check those out. Um, Elaine Alden, looking good, working it on Insta, and she has quite a few pictures. Like, how many
Oh
posts does
yeah.
she have? She has like 2,200 posts. So I recommend that all of you guys do a deep dive on Elaine Alden, and hopefully we're gonna see her on the sidelines in the Toronto Toronto Raptors wife crew.
Yeah, definitely a good addition to the sidelines.
So it's definitely a highly recommend. She's smoldering. So the verdict is, psh, definite checkout. Boogie approved.
Dino Bro stamp of approval.
Exactly. Freshly inked up.
Yeah. All right, I think that about wraps it up for the week, unless you got anything else you want to talk about.
No, I think that's it. So tune into the games this week, guys. It's definitely going to be a good test this week. We'll see where we stand at the end of the week. Please continue to follow us. Keep up to date on all of our podcasts. We're going to have a recap after each game. Check out our YouTube, www.youtube.com/DinoBrosTO, all one word. Check us out on Instagram at DinoBros. Check us out on Twitter at DinoBros_TO. And thank you guys for your continued support. And thanks for tuning in and get the word out about us and spread the love, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Peace out. Loving the Instagram followers. Got a lot of those now.
Love, peace, DB out.